Howdy, world. It is in the 9 o'clock hour Pacific time on September 10th, 2025. This is the Packet Roundtable, and I'm here with my esteemed guest, Caleb James Lyle and Josh Berger. And we are here to talk about Packet. We're here to talk about PKT, and we're here to talk about the state of the world of crypto. How you gentlemen doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Well.
Very good.
That we are live.
Yeah. Let's pass the info around. If you're joining us today, definitely send out a tweet, hit us in the Telegram, hit us in the Discord, and let us know you are listening. If anybody has any questions during the live stream, don't hesitate to shout out. And if you are not already subscribed to the YouTube, hit the bell and subscribe. Get on the team. Start paying attention to what is coming down the pipeline here. We actually have a pretty exciting week this week. Everyone's kind of sitting with bated breath to see what's going to happen with our dear old pal, Mr. Powell, and the interest rate decision that I think is coming down on the 15th, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's on Friday.
Oh, is it Friday? The 12th? No, I don't know. Anyways, it's coming in the next week, and crypto is just kind of like hanging out, just trying to see if we're gonna break 112,000 definitively, which looks like it did today. We're at 113 on Biddy. So yeah, nice big rip to the upside, $2,200 pump on Bitcoin today, since 4 p.m. yesterday, 4 p.m. Pacific yesterday. Solana is absolutely ripping.
Wow.
Solana is up to $223 today. So that's looking pretty good. And XRP's slamming up against the $3 position right now, which is also kind of nice. So we'll have to see what happens.
You think that they're thinking there's gonna be a cut and everyone's just like preparing for the rip?
Yeah. Let's see. I haven't checked the news today, but what are your thoughts, Caleb? What do you think is going to happen? You think we're lowering interest rates?
No. I think geopolitical shit's going to hit the fan, and they're going to print $1 zillion, so interest rates won't matter.
Interesting. The headline today is Fed rate cut now signals that 3% inflation is the new 2% inflation. So we have to change the mentality. Just going to rewrite the rules here. It says data on Thursday is expected to show that annual core CPI inflation held steady in August at 3.1. Annual core PCE inflation, the Fed's preferred measure, was 2.9% in July. So they're saying things are creeping up. But they still last year, did cut rates when the CPI was even higher, around 3.3%. So, I think. What's the date?
When is the meeting when they make the decision?
Let's see here. Well, looks like the print is going to happen on Thursday.
Okay.
So tomorrow will be the print. Yeah, that's why I think that the date, the decision making will be next week is why I think Tuesday. I think they probably have their meeting. Let's see, Fed meeting.
So they're printing money tomorrow, is basically what you're saying?
Not printing money, just saying that they get what's called the CPI print, which kind of is the indicator on how things are looking. So yeah, so the meeting is scheduled for September 16th and 17th, and it's a 2-day meeting that concludes with the announcement on the U.S. interest rates in the press conference. So looks like, next week. Our live stream on the 17th will basically coincide with what's going to happen with the Fed meeting. So we got a week of speculation.
So we'll be live while it's either ripping or dipping.
Yeah, well, it'll be preemptive, right? Because it's usually around 10:30 Pacific, 10:30 or 11 Pacific time is usually when the announcement happens. So yeah, next week we'll get a indicator on what's happening. So yeah, this week there could be speculation. You could be seeing people load in to crypto this week because they're anticipating that the interest rates will come down, and then the market should rip to the upside to coincide with that. So that's kind of
yeah. We should probably go take because we just got that payout from Celsius just paid out to other people, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So if you had your money that was in custody and not staked, you got a payout. I mean, we got our cash.
Yeah, they cashed you out. They retired your.
But at today's price, not at the price when it happened.
You know what? I think that if I had some like cash sitting around, I would put a buy order at 95.
Yeah.
Because there's so much weird stuff going on right now. There's a pretty good chance that there's a wick, and you would catch the wick, and that would be a nice ride.
Yeah, look, I think that Biddy's gonna explore some, maybe even a new all-time high. Yeah, I do. I think it's highly possible. But I don't think we're going to 200 or anything like that. I think that it's more likely that we're going to sweep the lows.
I said 95, not 195.
No, that's what I mean. I think it's
95. Just in case that something happens and then there's a down wick, and you'll catch the wick, and then it's gonna fly because they're gonna print money.
Right. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned, folks. We'll see what happens in the mighty world of crypto. But green candles are always fun.
Yeah, green candles are fun. ETH is kind of not really doing anything today. So but we do have actually ETH went down. Oh no, it kind of pumped and then it pumped and is retreating a little bit. So it did get a nice rip. It looks like everything got a good rip this morning.
Yeah.
But ETH was only up like 50, 60 bucks, maybe $100. But yeah, we got some pretty exciting news actually, Josh.
I mean,
pretty exciting news indeed.
Any of the news?
What's that?
Are we allowed to share anything?
I mean, no, but we can.
It's not exciting for the community then.
Yeah. Well, I guess we could just say that we did complete the first step of the deal. We've been talking about this deal. It's this impending deal that we can't talk about.
Yeah, but, we did get into the deal, so we're in it,
which is a huge piece of the story. So, I mean, we're, as we mentioned, acquiring a brand, and it's a big one. And so on Friday of last week was the deadline for us to put down the deposit and begin what we call the due diligence process. So we were able to complete that piece of it. It's a big milestone. And then now we're in the due diligence process. And we mentioned that it would take 30 to 45 days to complete, and then we would announce it hopefully by Halloween. It's kind of the timeline that we had given. And just looking at the day, I mean, we ended up getting another week of just delays with like the lawyers conferring over some like very small deal points on this paperwork, which ended up affording us an extra week, which is kind of good actually. Just less pressure. And but yeah, and then that paperwork was completed and the deposit was paid. So yeah, so now it like officially commences. I think maybe yesterday was day one of this kind of like 30 to 45 day period. And yeah, that pretty much definitively takes us to the end of October to get this thing locked up. And yeah, that period of time is really focused on due diligence. There's like a lot of work that needs to be done, and then a lot of legal work that needs to be done, and then a bunch of kind of like funding initiatives that are occurring that will be recurring for quite a long time. But the initial piece to complete the acquisition will be timely, and then we've kind of said it before, like in terms of this acquisition is concerned, it doesn't rely on PKT or the crypto industry, but I think it can benefit from it. But everything we're doing on the crypto side will benefit from it greatly. And so it'll be a very cool story. We were talking about, and actually, Josh, I heard you on the phone yesterday talking about like how many things in crypto have tens of millions of users. And we were saying, hey, there's nothing in crypto. But one of your guys mentioned that Brave browser has a lot of users. And I looked it up, and Brave browser is I think Brave browser, outside of just like saying, like Ethereum and Bitcoin have over 50 million holders. I think even Bitcoin has over 100 million addresses. Doesn't mean that there's 100 million people holding Bitcoin per se, or actively holding Bitcoin, because a lot of people have multiple wallets. But and then Ethereum has over 50 million wallet holders. XRP has about little under 7 million wallet holders. I think it's 6.8 million. But Brave browser has 90 million monthly average users, which is pretty impressive. And I think it's 38 or 39 million daily average users. So that number is very impressive. That's very impressive. I'm actually surprised with that size of a community, and everyone in that community knows that it's a crypto enabled platform, I think.
I use Brave.
What's that?
I use Brave. I don't use their wallet at all, but I use it just because it makes the ads go away. So
right. And you use Brave to make the ads go away, right? Like that's how the crypto functions?
No.
Oh.
I didn't even turn on the wallet or anything. It's it's a browser with an ad blocker built in, whereas Google makes it so that the ad blocker doesn't work in their browser because they like you to watch ads. Brave puts the ad blocker like literally in the code of the browser. So I use Brave because
a lot of people use Brave, clearly, over.
I mean, how many people use Brave?
90 million monthly average users. And
well, it's hard to. It's also a weird number because Brave is encrypted, so it's hard to know. I mean, maybe there's that.
I mean, it's pretty. Yeah, no. They have downloads. They have it. Anyways, it says that there's just shy of 40 million daily average users, which is very impressive.
That's really impressive.
I can't recommend it highly enough. It's like Google Chrome without all the stupid crap. And if you want to fool around with their cryptocurrency, you can do that, but there's really no reason why you have to. And the only place where you see ads is when you open a new tab and shows you some like ad stuff, whatever they want to show you. But other than that, all your websites, they're just nice and clean and they work. And it's not incredibly slow like Firefox.
Yeah.
Well, it's impressive. Anyway, so that's pretty big. I mean, we've done some advertising with Brave. I mean, they're a good organization. Spent a ton of money with them. Got very little value from it because a lot of their users are
in India.
And so it felt like they were like, hey, we'll generate all these CPMs for you, and then we're looking at the location of where people are coming from, and they're all in India. It's like, so I mean, if you're selling something in India, Brave is a great tool for you for sure. But if you're trying to communicate with people in any Western countries,
well, I mean,
place to go.
Brave pays you to look at ads with their little crypto thing, and I mean, salaries, I guess, in India are probably low, so. True. It's a hustle to just like sit there and look at ads and get get crypto money.
Yeah,
Which, if you've got like better options, then you're just not going to do it. But yeah, I mean, I never turned on the crypto thing at all because I don't want to be paid to look at ads. I hate ads.
Right.
You weren't trying to take a Lamborghini to the moon with Brace?
If I really wanted to like buy Brave's token, I'd just buy it, you know. And then I would same thing as like mining Bitcoin, you know, you could mine it and it's a big pain in the butt, or you could just go buy some.
Yeah, true. So regardless, there are a few things in crypto that are pretty good size. I mean, in terms of Brave, clearly a lot of other people are making the decision you made to not activate the wallet, not engage with the crypto, and just use the browser.
Does Brave do self custody, or do you have to connect your wallet to it?
I don't know. There's an integrated wallet, and I played with it, but it's kind of buggy compared to MetaMask. I don't know.
There's an integrated wallet.
There is an integrated wallet. I don't use it for packet. I use MetaMask, just because, you know, nothing's better than MetaMask. It's the, you know, it's hard to beat. Like
Coinbase wallet's pretty freaking good, except it does report to a publicly traded company, I believe. So
yeah, MetaMask is probably ratting you out in some way too, and they're all connecting to those like API servers. So if somebody's running the API server, they kind of know what you're doing too.
Right.
There isn't a lot of privacy outside of the niche communities like Monero and that type of stuff. It's mostly crypto's really not that private.
How's Monero doing after the hack? Or after
I guess they're okay because the 51% thing they never did anything. They just kind of suggested that. Well, no, they didn't even suggest. They said, "Oh no, we're honest guys. We would never do that."
Yeah.
And then
reminds me of Florian.
Of course.
Yeah. Russians come and they're like, well, "We're honest guys." Yeah, of course. But
never do that unless I wanted to do that.
No, of course not. So a bunch of other people from the community like spun up more servers, and so apparently they're back under 51%. So now things are good again, but they're also talking about hard forking the chain into proof of stake, which obviously is complicated, but probably would be worth their while just because they've been on the run from botnets for as long as I've known about that project. There have been botnets trying to mine their stuff. So proof of stake probably would make more sense for the Monero project. It still works, you know, as far as I know, you can still buy stuff with Monero and it's still transactions work and everything.
Right. That's cool. Yeah. That's a very interesting situation. I wonder if they're going to pull off the Dogecoin 51% takeover that they were talking about. It'll take time, and it seemed almost impossible to accomplish, but we'll have to see what happens. So yeah, on the packet front, what how are things going in terms of the airdrop? Everything kind of went off without a hitch there, it looks like. And
so it would seem. Yeah, I was expecting things to, you know, the problem with this is there was no way to test it, you know, until the day of. There's just no way to test it because, you know, it's the contract is locked unless you want to deploy another contract and then test the other contract, and then you don't know if the other contract is the same as the other contract.
Sure.
And it's just like there isn't really a good way to test it except just wait for the moment to come and then run a transaction. And that was what I did. I just waited for the moment. I had a migration link ready, and I tried it, and there was like one thing in the front end that it just fixed, and it seems that everybody's been collecting their migration airdrops, and everybody's happy.
Yeah,
all good.
Yeah, indeed. It's been pretty. There have been a couple ads. Someone, am I seeing this correctly? That somebody staked 25 million packet. Yeah, it looks like someone staked 10 hours ago. 2 ETH, 25 million packet. That's crazy. So yeah, there's been, some smaller buys, and then a bunch of sells. Oh, it looks like weird. They added and then removed. That's very weird. I'm not really sure what was going on there. But yeah, people, some buy and sell action, nothing crazy. A little bit of volume, a couple grand worth of volume.
I have to
And
say, I'm really happy with the server. Remember, we fought with that server for like 3 or 4 months.
which server?
The server for the dashboard.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That server was kind of a pain because the back end would go down, like whatever RPC servers that would go down, and then it would stop working. But it's got to be like 6 or 8 months ago now. It was like late 2024, December maybe. I just broke down and wrote I wrote a back end thing which uses like 10 different backend RPC servers, and whichever one's working, it'll just continue to iterate through them until it finds one that's working. And that has worked ever since. And every time, like every once in a while, I'll go and check on it, and it's just complaining that one of them's dead, but it's still working. It just takes it out of circulation, tests it every once in a while, and then it will just add it back in if it starts working. So very happy with how that evolved.
Nice.
We probably have one of the more hands-off, crypto project dashboards out there. I think a lot of people have to fight with theirs a fair bit more because those RPC servers are fickle.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's great. It's great that that's been so low touch, and it's been pretty functional. I mean, it was funny because this girl, not a crypto native, she had bought 100,000 packet. It had to be years ago, so she probably spent a few grand on it, maybe. And she wanted to go do her airdrop, and she was going to do it a couple months ago. And I was like, you should just wait for the third airdrop so you can just claim all 3 of them the first time, And she struggled with it. I exchanged a few text messages. I really didn't want to get into it and like deal with it, and just gave her enough info for her to figure it out. Sent her a couple YouTube videos on how to, put Ethereum in her wallet. She's like, I have a Coinbase account. How do I get Ethereum over to my Base wallet? So sent her a video on it. Here, this is how you do it. She figured it out. And well, actually, before that, she got an error message that said something about that coalesce, could not coalesce. And I asked you, I said, what does that mean? And you were like, that means they probably have no Ethereum in their wallet to complete the on-chain transaction. So I told her, she transferred. She's like, I have $300 worth of ETH in my Coinbase. I was like, all right, we'll send $1 over to your Base wallet, which she did, and bang, ended up getting her airdrop done. So, I mean, it's, it might take a little bit of muscle and a little bit of fortitude to push through, but, straight up someone who has no experience with cryptos at all was able to, get the deal done. So,
yeah.
That's always nice to see. I mean, when you look at a kind of user story like that, it's obviously nice that you're like, okay, it works, obviously, can it be improved with some better error messages, for sure, obviously. And those are places that you want to kind of polish the corners and, get a dev to do, probably a day of work, 2 days of work, just to clean up, like, for example, the error messages. Like when you try and complete a transaction, you have no ETH in your wallet, just say you have no ETH in your wallet. Like, I don't know who came up with the error message about could not coalesce, like that they thought that was going to mean something to, somebody, but ultimately you figure it out.
You know how these weird error messages end up getting in front of people is like somebody's working on a module somewhere, and the module like doesn't have anything to do with ETH. It doesn't have anything. It doesn't have a wallet or anything. It just takes like inputs and it gives outputs, and then like it has something, like 2 of its inputs don't make sense with each other. They don't work together, and it will just say, okay, you can't use this with that, right? which
Right.
makes perfect sense in that module where that person was writing. But
Yeah,
then that's like 50 layers down
Yeah.
where that module gets used by another one, and then it bubbles that error all the way up to the top, and people look at it as like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like, what is it?
That's how weird error messages get in front of you.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of all the where error messages are bizarre on the dashboard. So whoever, the guys who built
it's the standard error messages coming out of like MetaMask or whatever that is. It just takes whatever MetaMask says, like failed, just put that to the user. So MetaMask does it. So the libraries they're using sent the error message and it propagated up through MetaMask and up through the dashboard. And when we wrote the dashboard, we didn't have time to
QA it.
Well, no, we did a lot of QA, and that's why it wasn't an absolute disaster. We didn't have time to find all the likely errors and then do like a matcher, and then match those and route them over to a something that would give you like a human-friendly name.
Yeah, I created a list. I somewhere I have a Google Doc of my QA process. I'm just saying that didn't. We made a decision where we drew a line in the sand where we said these are the things that are like mission critical that have to be completed, and then these are like the nice to have things that aren't gonna, that aren't gonna be explosive.
When we conceived of the error handling, we just imagined that there's going to be a window and it's going to say the error message. And that turns out was not the right idea. What it should be is a window that says like some kind of an explanation for person, and then something that you can use to copy the actual error code. Because if you erase the error code, then if something really bad, like not really bad, but I mean like something really strange happens, it's going to say something like, this is something error. And then person's going to come and say, what's a something error? And I was like, do you have any other data about it? No, because it got erased. Right. So that's the big challenge, is that you need to show something that's going to try to be helpful, but you have to also handle the case where you end up with an error that you didn't expect as the programmer, and you need to get that to the user so they can get it back to the community, and then you can hope that it comes back to you, and then you can try to figure out what it is.
Yeah. It's a really good point. Well, it'll be nice to do a polish up on the dashboard for sure at some point, and I think that would be good. And we know that there's a couple little screen sizing bugs, and there's a couple little things. Just they're small, and you can work through them, but and they're. I would even put a couple of them into the need to have versus the nice to have. Obviously, it works without them, but it would be nice to clean up some of these things.
It would actually be great, and put this out to the community, is we should put together just like a bug report and just have everyone kind of go through and do the nice to haves, need to haves, and let people just kind of QA it within the community. People have been using this thing for over a year now.
Yeah.
So there's probably things that people know of, things that people wish it had, and could give a little bit of insight on that. And especially as we, retool it for the to be able to enable the third airdrop in its completeness. It could be useful.
Yeah, indeed. I do think I think there's a good opportunity there to get that tidied up, and then the kind of vision of what we want to do with with Packet going forward, what the next phase and utility, and how to integrate it into everything that we're looking at going forward. So I think that's there's a lot of excitement there in terms of what Packet is going to do going forward. I can't wait to get into the marketing on that side. I think it will be an explosive announcement. And I think we should expect to see a lot of interest within the crypto community specifically. It'll be nice to go back to everybody who's been a holder for so long and just say, hey, look, this is what ended up becoming of this project. And what's cool is also just how consistent that vision is with where the project started. at least on our end. I mean, on the CJDNS side, this stuff wasn't ever necessarily the end game, but certainly on our side and how we discovered CJDNS and got in touch with Caleb and everything that kind of drew us into crypto in the beginning, going on 10 years ago, is definitely stayed consistent. So it'll be very cool to connect the two.
Cool. Well, why don't we keep this one a little short and get into the mix, because we got a lot of stuff we're cooking over here.
For sure.
Our day is absolutely jam-packed with meetings. But it's all for the betterment of the community.
Yeah. Let's get into it. We can keep it short and sweet. I know, Jeremy wasn't able to make it today. He had to drop his boy off at school. And, but yeah, from the community standpoint, if there's anything that anybody wants to chat about, have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever, holler. And yeah, we'll just keep plugging away on our end. Everything's just been super fluid, super active, kind of in a very high focus on fundraising right now, and on a large level, very large level as far as the fundraise is concerned. And so that, certainly will make a big impact on and have a big effect on, what's possible with the Packet project once those resources become available, and we get to make a splash, on a very big level. And I'm excited to kind of dust off the, Packet project and, start actually putting some real, we've always talked about it for years now about, putting real marketing dollars into it. But it always felt like it would be a waste of money if there wasn't a clear purpose on why it's being spent and what the call to action is. And so this will be very specific in how that works. Big question is, when is the cycle going to shift? And I don't know. I have a feeling that cycle is not going to shift for another year. I think we extend into 2026 personally. I think the 4-year cycle, my guess is the 4-year cycle is a thing of the past. Now that we have ETFs, I just don't see it having the same, cycle that we had in the past. But especially since interest rates play such a big role in the liquidity that pushes the cycle. So if Powell's not out till May 2026, and we'll see interest rates come down then, presumably a year from now, we could see, alt season, maybe it's just delayed for another year. So, which would be great. I'd love to see some sideways trading action for, incremental pumps here and there, just, not see the whole market nuke out at the end of the year. So fingers crossed.
Yeah. You're a little more optimistic than I am, but Godspeed on that.
I know. Well, from my lips to God's ears, let's see what happens. But thanks for joining in. We appreciate you, all the folks that have been hanging out. Almost 100 people here with us today across all socials. And we'll catch you guys all next week.
All right. See you later.
All right. Peace.